Welcome back to the Muze Podcast, where we pull back the curtain on the music industry by talking with the artists, producers, and other creatives shaping the future of sound. Today, we're honored to host a good friend of mine, a rhythmic backbone behind many artists, both emerging and signed. Meet Andrew Besl, a drummer with over 15 years of experience, laying down dynamic, creative, and polished drum parts for a wide range of artists, from Noah Flourish, Busy, and Spencer Jordan to Brooke Alex and Steinza. He's also the studio drummer for Last Dollar Studios up in Green Hills, bringing his expertise to countless recording projects. Andrew's current creative projects include Neon Child, B. Kelly, and Pink Bubba, each showcasing his versatility, precision, and collaborative spirit. Based in Nashville, Andrew is more than just a player. He's a collaborator, aligning precisely with each artist's vision to elevate the music. Andrew, welcome to the Muze Podcast. I'm excited to explore your career, technique, and what it means to bring the beat.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Baxter. It's been cool to watch you grow over the years, man. I know we were in a study together in college. That was a great time, and it's been cool to see you grow with Ellen through the years and just see how things have developed. But how have you been? Pretty good.
Happy to have you on. Yeah, it's been too long, but excited to see you grow over the years too. So
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And for those not familiar, why don't you just walk us through what that's looked like, just how you got into drumming and your path to Nashville and beyond with the new tours coming up.
Yeah, totally. I guess the best way to start is at the beginning.
Yeah.
My introduction into drums, to be frank, I can remember like a super old memory. My brother would play. He still plays, but he was kind of the first introduction that I had to seeing anybody play the drums. And he and I are 10 years apart, but like when I was growing up, he was just the coolest. Like it was just a thing where like having a brother that was 16 when you're 6, you're like, oh dude, this guy can drive a car. He can do all this stuff. He was super strong. Long, short, I remember at one point I like snuck upstairs into his room where his drums were. And I can remember just like picking up a stick, and he had I know now it's a pearl sensitone, but it's this really nice aluminum drum that like Chad Smith will play. But you get that thing tightened up, and it's got a wicked crack to it. But I don't remember how old I was, but I remember just sitting back there and like actually hitting it and being blown away by how loud it was, and just being like, oh my God. And to be honest, like kind of like intimidated by it, frankly. From that point, don't really have any like stories of like interest of getting into music. My childhood was mostly filled with sports.
What kind of sports?
I was playing all kinds, man. My parents did a really great job of getting my siblings and I involved in a bunch of different ones, but baseball, football, basketball, soccer, and sometimes it would be, I would have football season and soccer season the same season at the same time, and it would be I have a game at 1 and I have a game at 4:30, and I'd make it to both. I definitely was grateful for starting with sports. I think that allowed me to have a great foundation for understanding how teams work. I also think with the family I grew up with, there's 8 of us. There's 6 kids, 2 parents, same house.
Full house, yeah.
Full house. Parents have been married for 40 years at this point, so I mean, blessings to them. They're the best. And growing up, the house was kind of like a machine. Everybody had a role that they had to fill, a room they had to clean, an additional room that they had to clean. Mom's running the ship, dad's running the ship. Depending on what's going on, there's always a ton of variables, but you have to take care of yourself, you have to take care of your siblings, and you have to take care of others. And I think they really instilled a great work ethic in each of my siblings. And then, with our extracurriculars of playing sports, we learned to work in teams, and we learned to work and lead and do a great job of kind of being self-sufficient, trying to accomplish the goals that we would set out in front of ourselves, whether it was getting a lot of goals, playing defense, having a specific batting average. They were always super supportive. Just super grateful for them. You know, they've never wavered in any way, shape, or form for myself or any of my siblings, and I know they're always in my corner. And as I've gotten older, that's been really such a foundation for me.
That's great.
I've never truly, like, it wasn't until like I got out of college that I realized that not everybody's family is like, nobody's family is perfect, but I never realized that the amount of work that it takes to sustain 40 years of, you know, a healthy marriage that has ups and downs, twists and turns, and with 6 kids, holy shit. Like, not to curse, but that's
No,
there's a lot of variables there. So to skip ahead to, I guess, past that was kind of what set the foundation for me to believe that I could really do whatever I set my mind to. When I was 14, so when I was a freshman in high school, I went to St. Xavier, go Bombers, they rocked. It was a great prep school, but there was a introduction of a new rule at lunchtime where we weren't allowed to have our backpacks out in the hallway or in the cafeteria. It was cluttering things up, and I think they also wanted to incentivize people to do their homework at home. I was not crushing in school. You know, I was always good at, you know, learning stuff by sitting in class and doing stuff. But when I got home, I wanted to, you know, do whatever I wanted to do because I would have practice after school. I get home at 7. I want to do just about anything but homework. So I found out that I could go into the music room and you could have your backpack out at lunch in the music room because nobody would go in there. So I would end up eating my lunch there. I would do my homework, and then I would go to class. One of my other, you know, best friends, Trey Hoffman, was a great friend of mine, you know, teammate when we were on the football team freshman year. He played O-line, I played corner. He also would come into the music room with me. We would get our stuff done, but he would play guitar. I think he had a Crafter acoustic that he would play Rage Against the Machine on.
Nice.
But I remember one day he was talking about, you know, hey man, like I'm like playing this. Do you want to give it a try? And my only experience on the drums was playing Rock Band 2. And I can remember up to that point, it was like when football practice started. That summer, I had started tapping on like the Rock Band like practice set, and I was starting to like figure out like, oh, this is just counting, and when I get to the end of this section, I can do whatever I want, and as long as I hit it here, I'm right back to the thing. And I would experiment with different genres of music, classical music, and it was funny to me where I was like, oh, this is all, as long as I can just, you know, stay consistent like that, it lands. So, and not to, you know, overextend, but the introduction was really, I wanted to do my homework at lunch. And then I started playing Rage Against the Machine with Trey. And I remember there was one time we really thought we had a sweet deal because it was finals week. And the school was empty. Or so we thought.
Yeah.
So I at this point still didn't have a drum set, but
your brother took it. I'm assuming he.
10 years apart. He was at Colorado skiing, you know, doing awesome stuff, hanging out, starting his gyms. But I remember Trey and I had this great plan after finals. We were just going to have a huge jam out, and we started playing. And I was just mashing on these things. We're no less than 30 seconds in, and one of the teachers comes in, and he's just enraged. She's like, "I got seniors in this other room. Get out of here."
Nice.
So I think some of that just like shocked into me that I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Your first audience?
I guess so.
Yeah,
a little bit, but
that was the machine you were raging against. Yeah.
That guy, I still think about that guy, and I'm like, I want to hit him up on like LinkedIn and be like, dude, come to my show.
Yeah.
Because I can remember him just
I was
being
looking paid for it. Yeah.
oh, this guy's not good right now. But also, I was 14, 15,
Sure,
is what it is. But I remember I was driving to school one day. My mom was like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I want a drum set. And she was kind of like, oh, I don't know if we could do that. That's a big thing. And I'm just like sitting there like, dude, I want that so bad.
Y'all already did it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that Christmas came around. I got a drum set, and I just remember just being in that room, no earplugs, just really not necessarily no idea what I was doing, but it was just me like figuring it out.
Sure.
And I think the introduction into like drums was really just from a place of feeling like I needed some sort of like outlet. Not necessarily that I knew what that was, but I knew at that point that like I was starting to like fall in sports. I was good at them. I was great at them when I was a kid, and as I was getting older, it was like, man, some of these kids are like outstanding. I went to the school that I went to it was all guys, 400 per grade, pretty orderly. But there was a very diverse array of students, and there were kids that were sitting at 6'5", 220, and I'm coming in at 14, I must have been like 100 pounds. Yeah. So I'm going on the football field, just getting macked out there. So it was kind of a thing where I think music was naturally just the replacement for sports, and I was able to get that endorphin rush that I had always gotten from that.
Were you happy to make that transition?
Yeah, I really was. There was definitely a desire to play something. I had always wanted to like experiment with guitar every time I picked it up. Never really made much sense. It was interesting with the drums that like as soon as I picked it up, it just happened. But I feel like anything in life, when you start to not only struggle with something, but struggle with something and realize like I'm just not good at this. It naturally will kind of just like float out. And I still enjoy watching sports. I still enjoy playing sports, but if I'm getting dusted every time I have to, cover somebody, and I can look at it from a data standpoint and be like, well, I'm running like a 4.940, which is great when you're, 15, but you look at everybody else and they're just smoking you. It's like, like there's no, like I should lean into the thing that I'm a little bit better at. So yeah, I would say the transition like occurred naturally, and I also remember just like not really enjoying them as much as I used to when I was a kid.
The sports?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I know the other part of the question was kind of how I got to, Nashville, how I got all those other things started.
Like what's led you into this vibrant creative scene?
Yeah. So when I was graduating from high school, I really wanted to go to Belmont.
Go Bruins.
I get, yeah. They it's funny. I remember having like no school spirit when I was there.
No.
It was all about
you're
just
on
like
the basketball team, or you were
exactly
doing music or whatever.
But I really wanted to go to Belmont when I was in high school. I found out about it pretty late. They had rolling applications. Application rate was pretty good. I remember I had applied super late. One of my buddies, Matt, had gotten in, and he and I were in a band together with two other fellows, Sean and Kyle. That was our band in high school. We crushed. It was awesome. It was really great to have a band. But I remember I didn't get in the first time. And
really?
Yeah, I didn't. And it was due to being so late on the draw. I just was lazy.
Sure.
And my first year I went to the University of Tennessee. And at that point I'd given up on drums. I just was like, okay, I'm going to get a business degree. I'm going to join a fraternity. UT Knoxville. Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, it was really great from the standpoint. I met one of my best friends in the world. He still lives in town. His name's Dan. He's awesome.
Nice.
But I remember at one point, I had this moment where I was pretty unsatisfied with where I was there. I was, I got into like exercising, working out. That was kind of an outlet for me. But I remember I had a lawn chair in my room, and I took the lawn chair and I turned it around. And this lawn chair, like if you take a lawn chair and you turn it around, you've got an arm here, here, head here, and the seat there. And I would drum on that because the right arm would be the hi-hat, the left arm would be the ride,
yeah.
Top is a crash, and then the seat, I had a practice pad. And I remember sitting in a chair and drumming on that. And that was a piece where I was like, all right, I think I like want to do this because I've gotten to the point where I'm enjoying playing the drums on a lawn chair. And I got to the end of the year, GPA was great. I had rushed a fraternity. They had gotten kicked off, and it was like, all right, well, I got no friends. I'm not in a frat because all my like friends that I had made before were like, well, this guy wanted new friends, so get out of here.
Yeah.
Things didn't have like the future wasn't looking like exceptional. And I'm 18, 19,
Sure.
and it's like, that's not how it's supposed to be. And I remember I had my roommate, Connor, really, really, really funny guy. I was texting him the other day. Funny connections with he and I. But at the end of the year, and I should start at the beginning. At the beginning of the year, Connor like warned me. He was like, "Hey man, I'm just gonna let you know I'm like very honest and I'm very blunt," and I loved that. Perfect, exactly what I need. We had a great relationship as roommates. But at the end of the year, I was like, "How do you think the year went for you?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think it was all right. I'll probably come back." All this other stuff, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, I'm like kind of not sure. I don't really have any leads here. I kind of want to do music." And he's laying in his bed, face up. I remember it because I was putting my laundry away. And he goes, "Yeah, maybe you don't belong here." And I was like, I like that hit me, and I was like, "Hey man, like, what was that?" But I like kind of took it, and I was like, "Yeah, I think you're right." Like instead of getting defensive at the moment, I was just kind of like, "Yeah, I think I should transfer. I think that's a good idea." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, if you're not enjoying yourself, like, why would you waste another minute of your life trying to do something that you don't like?" So, applied to Belmont, transferred in, moved in 2015. Honestly, my 10-year anniversary is coming up in a few days here.
Damn.
Which is very interesting. But got to Belmont. Lifting was super important to me at that point. So was socializing, having friends. When I got here, didn't have any friends, didn't really know what the deal was. My friend Dan, who was going to school in Knoxville, he would come back, we would hang out. But outside of that, it was just like lifting, meeting people at the gym. Wasn't really in tune with the music circle. I was studying entrepreneurship because that was.
Was that your major?
Yeah, I was that required the least number of credits for me to graduate. And I was sitting there, and I'm kind of like, all right, I'm taking like my aerobic walking. My mom's like, "What are you doing with your life?" But I remember music really started to take off in 2017. That's when I met my friend Justin through a roommate that I had my junior year, Jack, who's another dear friend of mine. So Justin and I, that summer of 2017, I had to retake accounting. And I remember he came over and we were just kind of jamming out. And he was like, "Yeah, like this was fun." And I had a great time. And he said that he had a friend and that he wanted to invite him over, great guitarist. That guy, his name's Hunter. And Hunter and Justin and I started a band. It was like really fulfilling. It was my first band since high school. And I remember being upset that the high school band had to break up because we all went our separate ways.
Sure.
But I also was really grateful to have found musicians who had kind of like the same sound that I wanted to like pursue. And like Hunter's guitar was exceptional. Justin's bass was exceptional. We never like had a singer, right? But it took a few years. We eventually got one. Got up to the point where we had a show at Mercy in 2019. And then that all dissolved with
How so?
the pandemic when it
Oh,
started.
yeah.
We had
You had one of the last shows there.
yeah,
then,
November 19th of 29. I think it was the 19th of 2019. We played. Probably should have played the High Watt instead of Mercy Lounge, but we still had a great show. It was still a really great learning experience. And then world shuts down. Singer moves to Philly. Bassist at the time, Justin, is kind of like, I don't know if this is for me right now. So really just came down to that point. Hunter and I were just going to a storage unit, just playing just every single day. We had nothing else to do.
Sure.
And we're just kind of sharpening, the tools that we had. I got into a relationship in, I want to say it was late 2020, maybe mid 2020. It went through 2021. I actually moved out of Nashville. I was living with Hunter.
Yeah. And I think I remember that.
Yeah,
Too,
it was. Well, it was interesting. It was a thing where with the gal I was seeing at the time, she lived down here, and I would go up because I was in a spot where I'm like, well, the world's ending, so I want to save some money for some reason.
Yeah, when the world ends, that's when you want to
that's
start
when
putting away.
you gotta get started. But I remember staying at her place, and she was gracious enough to host me. I'd buy the groceries. We're playing house. Probably not the smartest decision, but we're trauma bonding with masks. It was classic. I was really grateful for that relationship. It really taught me a lot of really great things, and I'm very happy that we got to spend that time together.
Sure.
That relationship ended after a 3-month vacation that we took to Utah, LA, and I got back into Nashville September of 2021. Started living with my buddy Kent. He's a great artist, great producer, and we still playing with Hunter. Things were developing really nicely, and we were starting to really build a great brotherhood of friends. Obviously, you and I had been seeing each other sporadically throughout the years and kind of seeing how things were going.
Time to time,
Yeah. It was great to share time with that group of folks. But this all culminates, and my music journey with the artists that are, on the page are, it really started in 2023. So 2023 comes around, and the boys are going to go to Puerto Rico. We plan non-refundable plane tickets.
Sure.
With Kent, Brian, and Hunter, and I'm on the list, and we're gonna go, and it's gonna be awesome. And lo and behold, I get a phone call I get a text from my buddy Zach Smith, another fantastic artist. I've known him throughout the years. Really great dude. And he goes, "Hey man, my buddy Spencer needs a drummer for the show, and I need one for my show in October." And I am like, "Cool, I can do Spencer's show. Can't do your show. I'm going to be in Puerto Rico. I'm sorry." And he's like, "It's fine. No big deal." So I do Spencer's show at Exit In. They're opening for a band called 90s Kids, who's now South Court.
Yeah.
Another fantastic band. But I get done with that show, and Spencer goes, "Hey, I got this friend, Elizabeth. She really wants, or I shouldn't even say wants, she needs a drummer." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's hear what it is." And she gives me a call and is like, "Hey, I need a drummer. Got a tour coming up in October, opening for this band Friendship, another fantastic band." And she is giving me the details, sends me the flyer, and I look at it and I go, I'm going to Puerto Rico for a week in the middle. So, I can do some of the shows, and I can find a fill-in for these other shows. And rightfully so. She's like, "Nah, I don't want that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it's just not going to work out. I got to go hang out with my boys." And I am on the phone with my dad probably, a couple hours later, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Like, he's like, "You moved down there to play the drums and go on tour. Puerto Rico's always going to be there. Your friends. Why would you, balk on an opportunity to do the thing that you really want to do just because you booked a non-refundable plane ticket? Like,
Sure.
Who cares? It's $300. Go make more money make it back on tour and do what you really want. And it was in that moment, it's things like that where I'm grateful to have, the parents and the support system that I do. Because when I talked to my friends about it, the guys that were going on the trip, they were all like, I can remember being on my porch and calling Ryan, and he was like, man, I'm bummed that you can't come to this, but you have to take this tour.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, just because it's a thing where they could have, gotten butthurt and been upset about it. But I was happy about that. So I call her back and I go, hey, mistake. I would love to go on the tour. She's like, I've got 4 other people on call right now, and I'm waiting for their responses. So for like a day and a half, I'm just sweating bullets. Like, man, I hope nobody. And so she calls me and she's like, I got good news. You can come. And I was like, let's go. I remember texting my family and at the time, man, it was rough. I was like roofing, and just didn't have much direction in life. But it was like for the first time ever, I was gonna have enough money for like a month or 2 months to be like, okay, cool, I can pay the bills with the money that I'm making from playing the drums. And that, I remember just sitting back and just being like, wow, it's
a big milestone for any musician.
Yeah, I remember getting really emotional at that moment when I sent that text out, and I remember exactly where I was sitting, and everybody was so proud, and it was one of the first. It was one of the first moments where I was really like proud of myself. I don't know. It was fantastic, but got fired from that gig after. I shouldn't say fired, but
the tour.
Yeah. Well, we did the whole tour. It was fantastic. Yeah. But I think one of the mistakes that I made on that tour was I really wanted everybody to like me, and I made the mistake of being nice instead of being kind. And I guess the differentiator between that is I was like, oh, everything's fine, everything's good. It wasn't like a toxic positivity, but it's like there's a certain point where you have to just tell the truth. And
authenticity.
Yeah. And I think a lot of there were a lot of tensions, a lot of whatever going on throughout the duration of tour where it just wasn't the perfect fit. And frankly, I'm grateful it worked out that way. I learned a lot. They figured out their end, and that's totally fine. I followed that tour up with my buddy TC. Let me know that Stein's another fantastic artist, was needing a drummer, and did a couple shows with him. Super great. We were set to do some stuff, but he shot me a text one day. He's like, hey man, my roommate plays drums, and honestly, it's just going to be easier if I play with him. And in the moment, man, whenever you find out that you're not getting it back, you're like, oh, this is so painful. But also, that's a smart decision. Like it's smarter. Like you can't fault somebody if they're making a decision that's best for them. That's all we're trying to do. And nobody's trying to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just a matter of, hey man, we're all trying. And you got to understand that. When it comes to Brooks' tour, that was interesting. So after everything happened with those two, it's not that I had like a dead zone, but I had started a different project with some friends. It was going really well. Still had Neon Child going on. We had a lot of fateful interactions. Things were going well, but Brooks' tour was the start of something I had no idea that I was, happening upon. I got really lucky. She hit me up and said, hey, I got this music video that I'm trying to shoot. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, yeah, sure. That's easy. Music video's awesome. Got there early, got set up, was on time. My job is always to just like, hopefully be a source of strength and reliability. I feel like that's a thing that I want to be. And I know I'm difficult on myself. I try not to be difficult on others, but like I want to hold myself to a standard of being as, perfect on the drums as I can.
Yeah. It's just a good work ethic.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. So I was very prepared for that. It was funny. The guitarist that she had hired for that music video had gone on some tours and worked with her as well. His name's Will Levin. He's the guy that runs Last Dollar. So that's how he and I met. And then her boyfriend, Kipper, was playing bass. That shoot went great. Was shot by a friend of ours named Struan. It was a great video. And after the video, she was like, "Hey, you did a great job. Like, you want to go on tour with me?" And I'm working this job at the time, and it's consistent money. And I'm like, I gotta go on tour. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. It's the thing to do. So I talk to work, and I go, "Hey guys, I got this tour. Can I do both?" And they were like, "If you could do it, do it." So I maxed out my PTO. I took every date that I could. And then on the days when I wasn't on a weekend or PTO, I was playing shows at night. I was working during the day. And then after the show, I would just keep working, and I would get ahead of the next day. And it wasn't, it was just what I had to do. It wasn't, I mean, was it hard? Sure. But
Part
it's
of
like,
the grind. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm young. So I'm going to take advantage of the energy while I got it. That was an interesting and really fulfilling tour. Brooke is just an exceptional artist. I mean, her work ethic is unparalleled. Really, really, honestly, all the artists I've ever played for, just talented beyond belief. I'm super grateful for all of them. Meeting Will, however, was probably the most fruitful piece of meeting her, because Will runs Last Dollar, and the band that I'm in, Pink Bubba, is his band. I'm the studio drummer for Last Dollar now, so whenever they have a client come in and they need drums, he gives me a ring. I go in, take care of it. It's awesome. It's really nice. That studio is beautiful. I've never been in a studio that is more well run. He and Kaylee do a great job of taking care of it, and the people that go there. But I guess that kind of lands me my current gig with Noah. I remember this was before I went on tour with Brooke. I get a text from Noah's manager, Joey. I've got it screenshotted in my phone. I'm pretty confident it was in June. But he sends me this text that goes, "Hey, man, you got anything going on between these dates?" And I just go, "Jack shit." So we are going on tour with Brooke. I'm getting the dates for Noah, and it's cool. It's like, I'm like, okay, sick. I'm gonna keep my job. I'm gonna have another gig in September. It'll be awesome. So this time last year, we're getting ready to get on the road. But going on tour with Noah was probably the most fulfilling experience that I've had on the road to my life at this point, by a significant margin. I really blended in with that team. And we've really done a great job of building an honest and truthful friendship with each of the members of that team, in addition to having great artistry and great work, and the commitment to the I guess the ethos of the project that they have is so contagious, and everyone in the crew is a part of the team and very selfless. I'm really blessed to be a part of that group and to know all of those guys. I learned so much on the road, and I really think, I've overextended my answer to the first question.
Oh no, yeah. You've answered all of my questions, man.
That is,
good.
The journey so far over 10 years is a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Just don't stop working. Is kind of where I've landed. But I got to hand the floor back off to you, man. That was a monologue of monologues.
Oh no, it's funny because just me being in and out for the last 5 years, give or take 5-6 years or so. Just hearing that perspective on a lot of this stuff. I knew some and learned a lot today for sure. And I'm also just curious, with getting introduced to these different artists, you provided great context for how a lot of these connections happened. when you're actually, like, you got the gig, so to speak, whether it's live or session drumming, I'm really just curious about what happens after that. Like, logistically, what does it look like after you got the gig? It can be preparation or how you find out how you're going to match someone's genre. Those are all just stuff I'm trying to get in the mind of
Yeah,
how
sure.
you tackle that.
There's two things that I really go through. When I'm trying to prepare for something, I need to know from the artist, okay, do you want it to sound exactly like the record, or do you want to give me the liberty to be comfortable behind the set? And thus far, most all the artists that I've played with have been like, be comfy, do what, like, kind of serve the song the way that you want to. If it's, if we're playing along the tracks, that kind of alludes to, play like the record,
Sure.
for the most part. But I'll say that when it comes to, prep, I really want it to be exactly like the record, if I can. I'll sit and I'll practice. And one of the things that I'll do is I will sketch out each of the parts on a piece of paper, and I will just have each section written down with little reminders, little notes to myself. And then I will play. This is going to sound crazy, but I'll play on an office chair or like a lawn chair. And I so that way I can hear what's exactly going on and I can sync it up. Because when you're playing with the drums, that's obviously going to affect a lot of the listening that you hear. But there are tons of like nuances and little things that just occur throughout the duration of the track. And I can remember when I was prepping for this showcase, I wasn't certain. It ended up being a stripped down set, so it was a little bit different. But I remember I took probably 5 days, and each of the 5 days was dedicated to one of the songs. And at the end of the day, I would play through all of the songs and give myself a grade on how do I think I went. And the goal is to have your grade be 100%.
Sure.
Every time. I've gotten to a point where if I get to the end of a show and I'm like, okay, I had a 95 or better, I can accept that. I'm not happy with it. I'm really only happy with 100% and really just nailing it. I get very upset with myself when I make mistakes, but I think that mindset allows me to really push myself to be as good as I can behind the set. Obviously, things aren't going to be perfect, but I really want to do whatever it is that the artist is going to do. And thus far, every artist that I've played for has been very candid and very honest about, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you can't take that personally. It's their project. They are the one that you're serving. And at the end of the day, like, I'm benefiting greatly from being in their presence and from playing the drums for them. So at the end of the day, it's their show. In terms of what I'm like changing, it's more of a social dynamic that I'm changing than anything else. One of the most valuable lessons I learned on the last tour was from Hunter Smith, Noah's guitarist. He talked to me about a mentor that he had at Blackbird when he graduated from there. And this mentor said, hey man, if you're in the room, your credentials are already there. Everybody, you're there. But the most important thing is that people want to work with you and people want to hang out with you. I know that when we went to, we started last year's tour in Seattle, and last year's tour in Seattle, the drive to Seattle took 36 hours. We probably played 15 to 18 shows. We'll say 18 just for the example's sake. But each show is about an hour. So on the drive to Seattle, we have doubled our show time in one leg, and we've got a month to go. So really, the musical piece of the puzzle is a tiny percentage. It's more, I shouldn't say more, but it's also really important to consider, okay, how do I work with these people socially? How do I work with these people from a reliability standpoint? Can I be awake at the right time? Can I be at the bus 5 minutes before bus call? Can I, take care of my mind and body so that I am sharp, so that I can drive that I can do, X, Y, and Z. And there's a lot of, tips and tricks along the way that I've learned. One of the biggest ones is to not drink. Because that if you don't, you're always ready. You're always ready to roll.
Yeah. Would you say that affects like the hang at all?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't. It can if you let it, but I don't.
I know some people can get kind of weirded out almost.
Sure.
With that.
And if they
I can
do,
tell you got a good handle on it.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna have fun.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't. I haven't had. I stopped drinking 3 years ago, so I've kind of gotten to this point where I'm like, this is just regular for me.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, man, what I swapped it out with is caffeine. So at like 9 o'clock before we're going on stage, I'll rip like a Celsius or like a Red Bull, and dude, I am loads of fun. I have so much fun when I am on one of those, dude. It's a little bender, but yeah, man, it's just fun to do that and to have, and also, this is a little life hack for anybody who's on the road and is ever like, insecure about it, right? If you're still driving, if we're still like, having to drive the van, so if everybody else is drinking, but I'm wired on caffeine and I'm ready to go, like, then I'll drive the van back,
Yeah.
We save money on Ubers. We get, I'll drive first shift the next day. It allows for there to be a nice, symbiotic relationship amongst everyone, and it allows for everybody to sleep well. And, it fills certain roles that just need to be there. So yeah, I guess that would be a small tip, but is what it is.
Good tips. I mean, on that note of tips,
Yeah.
do you see like with either artists that you've worked with or even just, I mean, like we were talking before, seeing people on stage, like common pitfalls that you're seeing, and like how that next generation of drummers and musicians can avoid that?
Tips and tricks. To be perfectly honest, practice with a metronome if you're a drummer, or guitar. If you're a musician, practice to a met. So that way, if you're in the studio, you can play to a met. It's super important.
Pretty standard.
If you're playing to tracks, you can play to a met, not even think about it. I will say, take care of your mental and physical health as much as you can. It can be difficult to do that on the road when you're, ripping Quick Trip, going through Wisconsin, a few times a week. But there are still healthy options at the gas station. Don't fool yourself into thinking you just need a Monster and a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's there's bananas there. There's yogurt. There's the stuff that I think people think is like a problem or they're going to get judged for. I don't think that exists. I think I think a lot of things are in people's minds. Now, granted, those things do exist, but my honest tip is just keep working hard, keep your nose to the grindstone, and don't quit. I've seen so many people, so many friends, so many people that I really was like, you're an exceptional talent. You are. I would want so and so in my band. If I was building it out, and they just lose the passion for it, and that's okay, but that kind of ties back into like, if you really want to do it, you got to know that you really want to do it. It breaks my heart when I see somebody who's talented not working hard. I think everybody's heard the phrase, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I know that I believe that because when I go to Inglewood Lounge or I go to the Nashville drum show, I see other drummers, I'm like, whew, I'm not following that guy, even if I'm just, poking around on this set, man. These guys they're dogs, they're good, and the gals are great too. But I would just say stay working hard, stay sharp on your craft. Try to be as touch as you can from like a sociological standpoint as you can. Like understand why people do things and understand that. try not to take things personally, if that
Sure.
makes sense. I don't know if any of this is checking out.
Oh yeah, and it has me thinking. I'm just curious. Like you've been doing this
Yeah.
basically half your life, right? To some extent.
Oh
I
God,
mean,
that
even.
I am getting old, man.
Oh no, I'm saying you've dedicated, like, I mean,
Yeah, it's about it.
like
Been a little
close
more
to your
than half.
10,000 hours to really be a master at this. I do think motivation is really important to maintain not just your talent, if you want to call it that, but also your work ethic. And for someone who's put in that much time into this, I guess I'm just curious, do you have other just ways that you keep yourself motivated? Like I know people who are doing a lot better than I am that get imposter syndrome all the time and don't know if they want to do that. So I guess I'm just curious, what keeps you going?
I feel like there are two answers to this. The
Sure.
first of which would be like my personal one is to tie back into trying to be, as close to like flawless on the drums as possible.
Sure.
That I really want to be regarded well by my peers. I want to be known as a great drummer. I want to be known as like the drummer.
Yeah.
I see folks around town that are exceptional drummers and exceptional people. I want to beat them. And I don't want to be nefarious. I don't want to be backstabbing. I want to, befriend my
earn it.
ops,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. But I want to win. I want, and that it's not that it's a thing where I'm the only one that can do it, but I'm not going to let anything stand between myself and the goals that I've set out for myself.
Sure.
And also, what motivates me, man, I'm not good at anything else. I'll say this much. I think that what's far, far, far more important than motivation is discipline. I think setting a standard for yourself to say, I'm going to do this. I want to, tour stadiums, right? I'm so jealous of the guys that get to do that. That's so cool to me.
You're getting there.
I'll get
Yeah.
there eventually. There's the hope, there's the faith, and the only thing standing between myself and getting there is an immense amount of discipline to continue playing the drums at a high level, getting better, and a pinch of luck. Because without the luck I've had in my life thus far, and every single person that I've met, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and I'm so grateful for all the peaks, all the troughs, all of the pieces that are both wonderful and terrible. I over the 10 years I feel like I've lived so many different lifetimes with different people and different groups and different bands. And I think that something that I always try to work on is to be grateful for all of it. It's really difficult to do that. It is. And I also think that I remember one specific lesson from Bud when we were there.
Yeah.
I think you may have been there for this one, but I can't remember. I think Preston Berger, he put up a testimony somebody had, and it broke down. It broke down the Our Father, and it focused on each line, and the one line that stuck with me is give us this day our daily bread.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to make this like a big hoopla, whatever, but
Sure.
I think one of the lessons that's really valuable that you can hold on to is as long as you got a roof over your head today, and as long as you got food for today, and you are able to remain present today on the actions that you can take to improve yourself for tomorrow, for next week, for next month, for next year, for the rest of your life, I think that you can really accomplish just about whatever you want to.
Yeah.
they are all, the staircase to get to the goal where you're going is millions of tiny, tiny, tiny steps. And I feel like I've scaled a great number of those steps, and that I've gotten very lucky to not trip and not fall. And I've fallen backward a few times. But I think the thing that keeps me motivated is the fact that I have wonderful friends. I have a wonderful family.
That's great.
I have a great appreciation for all of them and everything that they bring me. And along the way, I've gained some great ones. I've lost some really great ones. But I need to know that, I need to at least believe that everything that happens to me, I can view it from the standpoint of, this is either the greatest thing that's ever happened to me or it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I need to believe that everything that's ever happened to me is the greatest thing that could ever happen to me, because it is. I am so happy to be where I am. And I know that it's not, exactly where I'm like aiming for the rest of my life. There's a lot of other things I want to accomplish, but for right now, I'm just incredibly grateful to be here. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, that leads me into my next one is, what is that next thing? Like, what do you see next for you?
I got to say this because if I say it on a podcast, that means I have to do it.
Yes.
I think what's next is I actually have to dedicate my social media to actually making it look like I play the drums. I think I have like 6 pictures up there right now.
Yeah. You got drums in your username, don't you?
Yeah, and I don't have any drums up there.
Yeah. People are just going to think it's your last name or something.
Exactly. Yeah. That would be
Besl drums.
That would be an insane government change that I'm not willing to go to. But somebody might think that. But no,
Stick with your middle name, because you can always say drums or...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Drums are my middle name, yeah.
That actually, holy shit.
Yeah.
Not to curse.
There you go, yeah. Go for it, yeah.
I think what's next, we're
Exciting.
playing Basement East November 3rd. Really excited for
Nice.
that. I've got a few more shows. I got one more in Wisconsin with an artist, Brett Westgrove.
Nice.
This guy's a stud. Playing with some really great musicians with him. And then I've got a recording project with Neon Child. We're going to record at Last Dollar with Will.
Yeah.
Just keeping the schedule as packed as I can. And then, man, I'm gonna be on Nashville Drummers Podcast on let's see.
This is a weekend, right?
Yeah, I think it's Saturday. So, man, I'm trying to really catapult myself into the next chapter, and I think it's going to present itself when it really needs to. But I think the next chapter for myself is a self-sufficient system where I am capable of showcasing my drums independently, and I can showcase that value. And I also, to be honest with you, I was telling my sister this, and I'm also going to say this on the podcast, so I have to stick to it too.
Accountability,
Man,
yeah.
I need to start playing guitar. I have this. You ever watch Inside Out?
Oh, yeah.
So I was getting a massage from this gal at Massage Envy in Green Hills a few weeks back. It was wonderful. But this lady was talking to me while she's doing this, and she's like, a lot of your problems are just the little inside out guys in your head. You've locked them up in a basement somewhere. And there's been this little one locked up in the basement saying, dude, we need to play guitar. Since the first time I heard Jimmy Page shred on Communication Breakdown. So I think I need to learn how to do that. I think that's going to really ameliorate a lot of the creativity issues that I have. I write a lot of songs, and I have a ton of really great ideas. And frankly, in this season of life, I the faucet is flowing for great ideas.
That's great.
Of songwriting, and I feel like if I'm able to communicate those ideas and play the drums, that makes me pretty dangerous. So I'm excited to do both of those things from the standpoint of proving my standing on the internet of look at my drums, and then also from the standpoint of look at these ideas that I can produce and present and collaborate with people on.
Yeah.
How about you? What's next for you, man? Sorry, you've been asking me all these great questions.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't reciprocated a single one.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm really excited for that next step, and you gotta play me anything that you're writing. Like I just gotta
Yeah, dude.
hear some of that. Yeah,
Whatever. Once I figure it out, it might take a minute, but I'll send you some stuff. We
Yeah.
got some cool stuff. I'm
Nice.
excited for it.